The death toll in Iran reportedly topping 3,000 since protests started 3 weeks ago as the ayatollah blames President Trump, threatening him from the bunker where he's reportedly been in hiding since the U.S. strikes last June.
We consider the U.S. president a criminal for the casualties, damages, and the slander he inflicted on the Iranian nation.
President Trump saying enough is enough. Quote, "It's time to look for new leadership in Iran. What he is guilty of as a leader of a country is the complete destruction of the country and the use of violence at levels never seen before. The leadership should focus on running his country properly, like I do with the United States, and not killing people by the thousands in order to keep control." Our next guest, Iranian activist and investor, has been advocating heavily for extended family still in Iran. Moj Mahdara joins us now. Moj, thank you for being here. I want to get to your take on, this war of words between President Trump and Ayatollah Khamenei. But first, you have extended family still in Iran. What are they telling you about the situation there?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me to this important conversation. It's important to bring awareness to what's happened. The numbers actually coming out this morning from Iran International are closer to 16,000 to 20,000 people have been killed, and we're talking about 250,000 plus people injured. We're talking about 1,000 people who have lost an eye. So right now, the Iranian people are facing a death sentence because they are here to change the regime, ask for democracy. They are asking for President Trump's support. They're asking for an intervention, not occupation. They're looking to the sky for American support. And so right now, what I think of what the president is saying to the supreme leader is that it's time to go. And I think he has the full support of the Iranian diaspora. And more importantly, he has the request and the support of the Iranian people who are essentially renaming streets inside Iran. You can see the streets being renamed President Trump. And so I think this leader has to go. He's toxic, not just for his own people, but for the region. And I think he has been a huge, huge thorn in the side of foreign policy for a very long time now.
Moj, this is really quite startling, and you're giving us really on-the-ground information. 16 to 20,000 is just unthinkable.
Correct.
And the fact that there are streets named for Trump really does talk about how those brave activists, which I have talked about, is remarkable because so many of them are too young to remember anything other than the life under the Islamic regime's brutal control. Where do you see this heading? Like, walk me through, Moj, the best case scenario and the worst case scenario of how this plays out.
My best case scenario is that our democracy, and Washington in particular, kicks out these lobby groups like NIAC and the Quincy Institute, and Trita Parsi, who led the JCPOA, is no longer narrating how this goes in the region. And President Trump leans into his instincts, supports an intervention, supports a regime change. Look, the important thing here is we're tipping power in the hands of the Iranian people themselves. We are doing what they want. We are supporting them because they need the help to tip the balance of power. What I would like is to get the Starlinks that are in the country. There's about 1,000 units. We need to get more. We need to get them activated and in the hands of activists. We need to support communication because, as you know, Huawei, the Chinese company, has supported a suppression. They have an intranet inside the country. So we're talking about, if we do not support the Iranian people, I do want people to consider that for the past 2 decades, we've had the support of the Iranian people on knowing what's going on the ground because they've had access to communication. If they enter a Korea-style, North Korea-style intranet where they're shut out from the world, how will we know what's going on with a regime that's caused so much suffering all over the globe? How will we know?
And that's certainly part of a worst-case scenario.
Well, and then we have an amazing opportunity. We have the Crown Prince that the people are calling as a transitional leader. They are looking to his Iranian Prosperity Project as a transitional plan. It still needs some more input from other regional leaders in the provinces. We need to pull in the Kurdish leadership to help lead this through. But I think this is time, and I think the Gulf states want this. I think people in the region want this. And more importantly, the most important is we have an ally and a friend inside the country called 90 million people, Iranian people, who are begging, if we don't step in and help them, we are essentially, we are saying, first of all, the regime is not that bad, and we're giving them a death sentence.
Moj, the uprising, the protests that we're seeing now, we haven't seen this since 2009. And then President Obama handled this very different than President Trump is. I want to get your reflection on that.
Well, I believe, and I've heard President Obama and Secretary Clinton say that this was a regret, that they did not support the Iranian people at that time. And I think President Trump, as Commander-in-Chief, has a different opportunity to make history, to make a new ally, to support the Iranian people, to not just do a good thing, but do a smart thing for our foreign policy.
And just lastly, in the few seconds I have, Moj, I do want to ask you, so we heard the President Trump, talk about potentially going so far as airstrikes, and then we saw the President pull back after the 800 executions were paused. But where do you see that heading? Do you think we could be looking at an actual airstrike of some sort?
Well, I believe the President means what he says. And I believe they're probably exploring strategic strikes or drones, and more importantly, collaborating with everyone in the region. So I think he's made a decision where, you know, it's up to him on when and how and what this looks like. But I think with a regime that continues to not just threaten him, but cause chaos across the region, undermine what the Gulf states want in terms of their Vision 2030, we won't have Vision 2030. We won't have a new reset region, and we will continue to have what we have, the suffering for the Palestinian people and a constant threat for the Israeli people if we don't find a way to regime change. And I think it's time that we sort of reset the balance there, support the Crown Prince, get rid of people like Trita Parsi who are in the administration. And I think, listen, we are the most sophisticated country in the world when it comes to technology. I think he can do this without harm. I think he can do this strategically, and most importantly, he has the support of the Iranian diaspora that's ready to invest back into the country. There's 8 million of us that are ready to reinvest, and I think he has 90 million people that have his back.
Moj, our thoughts and prayers are with you and, of course, your extended family in Iran. Thank you for being here, Moj Mahdara.
I appreciate you.
Have a good one.